is on the brink of war. The world needs a reset.
Adamantium is the discovery of the millennium.
So many surprises left.
Adamantium could tip the global balance of power.
If only one country is going to control it, it's going to be us.
You have no idea what I have in store. We can't let him end up in the wrong hands.
Captain America: Brave New World. Rated PG-13. Get tickets now.
Welcome to the Couch Command video. I'll be your host, Keith Justice. With me today, I have industry professional Stephen Dinelli.
Hey everyone, I'm Stephen Dinelli, aka Caravaggio's Wolf. I'm an artist in the entertainment industry.
You might know him, probably not, because it didn't go. He put me on the cover of Indiana Jones. I can never thank you enough for this. Just my heart always swells when I see this and talk to you. So thank you. That was so much fun. Also, we have with us MJ.
Greetings and salutations. Glad to talk to you guys again. It's been a while.
Rock on. We also have Lobster from Lobster Magnet Reviews.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
And welcome back, Doc Falconer.
Hey, what's up?
All right. Today we're going to be doing a review for Captain America: Brave New World. To start off, the movie is Sam Wilson now has the shield and a new suit. He is trying to rise up, become the new Captain America, and lead the world into the Brave New World. The grand prize is Adamantium has arrived to the MCU for the first time, and standing in his way is the Red Hulk and the Thinker. The Green Thinker. The Green Thinker. Brain man who thinks a lot.
Brainiac Thinker?
Yes.
The thinker.
That works.
Leader.
The thinker.
Yeah.
No, he's the thinker.
I far prefer that anyway. Though they did look like they tried to make him look more like Brainiac in the movie, but anyway.
They certainly did.
And we'll go down the list. I'll start. I liked it a lot. And it's not just because the hero is a black man. That's how it's like. That's how everything's just kind of been going into this movie. The representation they're trying to do is forced and unfortunate, because I think like everyone liked Sam Wilson, everyone liked Falcon, even Anthony Mackie in his interviews before coming Captain America. When people were asking him, "So, are you gonna become the next Captain America?" He's like, "I like Falcon," and yeah, as a result, and because of so much pop culture leading up to this. Like, people showed up ready to fight. Because of so many other things have been created where like, you better like this or else. Like, people are just like, well, I'm just ready to just dislike it and stand on that. And I'm not going to say if you don't like it, you're doing that, because in this podcast and what I've been trying to do is like have people be able to talk to each other, dislike something, like something, and still remain friends.
Though it's odd that there was a culture war over it, since the precedent had already been set in the comic books that Sam became Cap. So, yeah.
Although I don't think that is a good excuse to make him Cap, because the comic books are trying to lock it in that it's cool, but you have to earn your cool. That's the problem that has been going on with American comic books. I think lately, the main thing in Japan is like they have a competition of like who
Stay on target.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Let me get back up to I won't stray. Thank you. But yeah. I liked it.
Does that mean I have to call you Porkins now, Steven? I'm sorry.
The main problem with it is that does it justify its place in the cinema universe and its budget? And I think that brings a lot of things into question, because if this was just like a comic book that I picked up on a Wednesday and like it was Sam Wilson gets a new suit, he fights the Red Hulk, I had a pretty great time. But I'm not sure if, like, it just stands with the rest of the MCU's legacy. Please, Steven, I've not heard a single word of your opinion. No, wait, I did hear a little bit. But like I made sure like not hear anything up to this point. Unload. What do you think of Sam Wilson, the Captain America?
I love Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie is a fantastic actor. I will see anything that he is in.
Even Twisted Metal?
Yes.
I heard he was good at Twisted Metal.
Episodes. Yeah, he's a great actor. What he doesn't have is a great story or great writers. or a great company to work for. But I digress.
Thank you.
I thought the performances were wonderful. Who's that Indiana Jones guy that's way too old to be working now?
Harrison Ford?
Yes.
Harrison Chevy? What?
Harrison Ford should be doing incontinence ads for adult diapers.
I think he's having too good of a time.
Why is this man in film?
Because
I wouldn't bust Harrison down like that.
I think they rolled out the red carpet for him, and he does not want to stop having the carpet rolled out for him. He's having a great time.
He is literally going to die on set.
When he's 90.
Yeah. Which is like in 2 years. All right. So they were in a film together, and they are actors, good actors, in a movie together. The end. MJ, what are your thoughts?
So you're not that big of a fan. Well, this was the first new proper MCU movie in 16 months, because it's been that long since the Marvels. And if we're really being honest, Deadpool and Wolverine was just a one-shot. It was not an MCU movie. But anyway, what I've found when it comes to MCU movies nowadays, you have to break it down into 3 criteria. 1, as an MCU movie. 2, as a genre movie, because as we've talked in this podcast before, most of the MCU movies seem to work better when they're genre movies. And 3, as an actual movie. As an MCU movie, it was par for the course. It kept moving the ball down the field. They had plot lines that they had to keep chugging down the line. So, yay, mission accomplished. Why they felt the need to revisit The Incredible Hulk after 17 years.
20 years.
It felt like 20 years, but it came out in 2008, so yeah, it's only been 17. But
you nerds.
18 years.
I'm sorry I pay attention, even though it's the 35th MCU movie. Who would have thought that would have happened when all these started in 2008? But anyway.
No, it started in 99 with Blade.
Well, okay, if you're basing it off the timeline from Deadpool, Wolverine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Steven, can I ask, what microphone are you using? You have this wonderful, great brass baritone. I must know.
Oh, that's because I was drinking scotch and smoking cigarettes earlier. Trying to make my inner Barry White. It is. Hey,
right. He's got the Shure
microphone.
Oh, all right. So, all right. I was wondering if it was like something better than my Shure microphone.
My wife is a podcaster, so she just took me up. I'm in her office. She stole one of my stormtroopers.
Oh my god! Then I might have to talk.
She's a nerd too.
Take my stormtrooper. I take your mic.
She got 2 legit podcast setups, and like I think she's gonna be helping us out. Also up her game. So
right. Stay on target.
Yep. As a genre movie, Brave New World, Julius Ono, the director, he said from the get-go that he wanted to ape the vibes of the late 60s, early 70s espionage movies that were all the rage back then. So it was a mostly functional espionage movie, as a genre movie. Problem is, Winter Soldier went there first and did it better, and had Robert Redford to boot. So it did all right. Anyway, and as an actual film, it's not going to be winning an Oscar anytime soon. There's a lot of things you can pick apart. I mean, like the score for me jumped out at me right away. It just jarred me because it just took me out of almost every scene that was playing over it. And Ona used a lot of Michael Bay camera tricks that just threw me off. Like, okay, you're trying to overexcite the scene, dude. Calm down. And a lot of the dialogue was just creaky. Like most of the crap that they wrote last minute gave Giancarlo Esposito. I'm like, don't have him say that. No, stop. But yeah, I mean, it's par for the course for MCU movies nowadays. It's not horrible. It's not great. It's not going to reset the bar for the MCU because, let's face it, that's just the way it's been since Endgame. So it is what it is.
All right.
Isaac, what you got?
All right. Ooh. So,
I can hear your hands rubbing to the point of the fire now. My goodness.
To Keith's point, this would be like a perfectly fine film to see at the gym on television on TNT, or as like a comic book that you buy for $2. But unfortunately, we don't exist in a world where the $2, and we also exist in a world where the Winter Soldier came first. So on one hand, commendable for Marvel considering how much of a disaster behind the scenes to like actually get like this weirdly apolitical film out that was like, you know, at least initially a success. It's like that classic quote from Thanos, where whatchamacallit, Iron Man's beating Thanos. He's using all of the you know, techs of his nano suit, and then Thanos looks at him and he's like has like a little smack of blood on his lips and he says, all of that for one drop of blood. So I feel it's like hundreds of billions of dollars
Well
for
one drop of blood.
for like a semi-decent opening. You ruined your ace in the hole. You showed the Red Hulk, which was like the only interesting surprise. You shot it all to hell. You had that awful like hour which just felt like a you know, sci-fi channel movie. Oh, Captain America fights random generic terrorist goons in like the worst set possible, in like a budget version of the Winter Soldier that did not have the grit, it did not have the same kind of impact, even though it follows the exact thing. And I think that we have a winner. Ding 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 ding. It is a very competitive field for who is the worst Marvel villain, but I think Samuel Stearns, the leader, is now close to the top three. I think he's beaten out MODOK. I think he's beaten out the CGI thing from the Eternals. He's readily
always defend the Eternals. Sorry, this is good.
He is readily defeated. Oh, come on, Keith. Did you like? Can you name the villain from the Eternals, Keith?
Yeah.
Multi-eye CGI guy.
Okay?
That's who he was. Multi-eye CGI guy. And
you can't look it up. What is his name? And you can't say Icarus.
Hey, let's stay on target here. I don't think I'm not the one on trial. All right, let's talk about the movie. The Eternals bad guy was another conversation.
Well, all right. So we'll staying on target. The fact that you have this incredible villain who just sticks in a goddamn basement and this incredible superpower is that, oh, I know the probability of this is going to happen, and I'm going to make menacing phone calls that mind control people, which is like the worst version of the Winter Soldier program. And it's just like, oh yeah, you turn the Harrison Ford red by sneaking him pills, because in the goddamn Marvel universe, the president of the United States can't find heart medication. He has to keep a guy locked in a bunker.
He can't find special science fiction heart medication. He does need this guy in the bunker. It's in the story. Right?
You can't call the Guardians of the Galaxy. You've got the multiverse. You've got the Dr. Wong. You've got and that's like
I don't want to go too far.
All right, fine.
I just like I disagree a little bit. But like your metaphor of all that for a drop of blood, it keeps coming back. Like I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like he found a bunker. It doesn't have to be better than the Winter Soldier. It's fun to pick up a comic book for $2 and just go, oh man, he's got to fight 2 hit point ninjas.
My day, that book was 99 cents, son.
But
that would be fine if this was like a Marvel television show that cost $20 million. But for like a $300 thing, the next Captain America, which has probably been the most consistent out of all the Marvel trilogies, that's like not just like a walk in the park. You kind of expect a little bit more. And like, I think the worst thing is like trying to do a political story with no politics. Oh, France, you don't want to piss off France and Japan. Oh,
yeah, you can't go too hard. Because like in the original Captain America, they couldn't fight Nazis; they had to fight Hydra. So it's a fun world that they don't want to have real stakes in, and you can't piss off real world players and whatnot. So yeah. But I get you. Everything you're saying is valid. It's just like I do want to take all the money off the table and just say like it just wasn't like the hateful car crash of like entertainment we've been seeing up to this point, where it seems like people are mad that they're doing it. That's all I'm saying. Like I appreciate effort, except for like if they spend way too much money. But like it
was like the Oscar. It was there, but not terribly offensive.
Anything else, Lobster?
Yeah, so at one hand, bravo for course correction. Bravo that we got like a Hulk, considering that the Hulk has been thrown in the toilet, and we just have like just Mark Ruffalo as Smart Hulk, which is basically just Mark Ruffalo being himself.
Hey, what about She-Hulk, man? Come on.
She's just an extension. She doesn't Hulk out either. She's human level intelligence. So to actually have a Hulk throw things, I think there was a certain level of entertainment value in that. So I guess bravo for somehow convincing Harrison Ford, the most curmudgeon-y actor, who despises all of this, like fantasy marble gargle jumbo junk, to don a mocap suit.
Yeah,
When
I
I'm
hear he's a
running the
party man.
country, I like
I
to
hear
wear
he's
the
a party man,
pens.
and they give him a good reason to party again. All right, Doc Falconer, what'd you think of Captain America versus the Red Soldier?
America.
Well, I feel like a lot's been said already. But yeah, I went into it with very little expectations. But what expectations I had still weren't really met, unfortunately. And Isaac kind of mentioned this. The whole thing felt like an extra special, very long episode of a Disney Plus series. It never really felt cinematic to me in any way, shape, or form. And kind of going back to what you said, Steven, yeah, like I really like these actors, like almost across the board. Like Tim Blake Nelson is a fantastic actor. I mean, if you've never seen Ballad of Buster Scruggs, go check it out. He is fantastic in that. And then to see
Brother,
him,
where art thou?
what's that?
Or brother, where art thou?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, name almost any other Tim Blake Nelson movie, TV show, whatever. It's going to be better than what we saw there.
And he played the Thinker?
He played the Thinkerer.
The Thinkinator.
So yeah, I still enjoy the action sequences. And like to some degree I enjoyed the whole thing, but I was just disappointed by it. In general. And I mean, we can go into like the details and everything later on, but yeah, it didn't feel like an MCU, and this was supposed to be like the big reboot, right? This was supposed to be us kind of getting back to form. And if this is what serves as that, then I'll be very surprised if we ever get there again.
So, not to get off target, but I was making a point with the Japan versus America thing. Like the problem is that, like, I would have loved for like Sam Wilson's comic book character to be awesome. To do it right somehow, like, but you need a drive, an artist that is like, I have something that's exploding from my fingers. It needs to be seen, and the story that can like legitimize this version of Sam Wilson, whatnot. But instead, like, it comes off as like marching orders from a corporation saying, "Well, we want the black guy to be Captain America," and you're like, I don't mind that, but like, please, like, you have to do it on like the stage of entertainment where everyone's seeing it and everyone feels it, and you want this to happen. Versus like, yeah, you just did it, and then because it was in the comic book, now we're just doing it on the movie, and like yeah, I had fun, but like, you can't just tell people to show up to the table and have a great time. Like you.
Well, can I interject a little bit or add something on top of that? One big problem with this Marvel phase has been like a lot of it was inspired by the all new, all different Marvel movement, which was like in the 2014, 2015 characters. And that was kind of an attempt to sort of broaden we had the female Thor, we had Kamala Khan, we had Riri Williams. It was kind of an attempt to like, address long held criticism that there were too many white guys. And, that I think that's a fair criticism. But the problem is that like none of these characters ever really hit. It was just sort of like, I think people like the idea of Miles Morales and Kamala Khan, and Miles Morales hit once the Spider-Verse movies actually gave him a good story.
Yeah.
Him in the comic books is so bad. It makes me uncomfortable.
People like the idea of Miles Morales, but I don't think even his staunchest defenders can like name you like a really great Miles Morales run. And the same thing with Kamala Khan. Oh my God, did she? Was it when she fought the cockatiel, the Thinkerer?
Yeah. Meanwhile, like my comic book time was the '90s, and like you'd have like superstar Todd McFarlane, and like he wants to bring back the black costume or this and that, and like they have so much heart behind the creation of it. And then instead of just saying, "Hey, we now want the black female character," now just do it, and like you've now built up an army of enemies who are just like don't want to be told what's cool. And instead of, like I said, like I would have loved if like you could like organically make Sam Wilson into a cool Captain America, but it's not easy. And also to the design, wings are always bad. I'm not just stealing not to steal from that YouTube channel. Not to steal from that YouTube channel, because like if my buddy Romero is watching this, I've hated and been cruel to superheroes with wings since I was a kid. Like I died laughing when I found out Angel got caught by Apocalypse and got his wings ripped off. I was so mean to him, and it's because like unless you're doing like a biblical epic, it just never works. They're too flowy, lazy, clunky, ugly. And
honestly,
I was thinking like, real quick, and then like really quick, I was like thinking like, please put like Japanese artists like Obari or somebody who's in charge of the animation of the wings, so they can maybe cut corners and like always look good. But even the picture here on the screen, like it's just like it's not cool. Matt, what were you saying?
So you feel about wings the way that most people feel about capes. Got it.
Okay. Oh, hey, no, do not. No, people don't. I don't think most people think that about.
We got to stay on target. Look,
thank you.
I think this film was an utter failure. I think they had it, and mind you, I didn't hate it. I just will never watch it again, and that comes back to my disappointment in Disney. Sam Wilson, who's human, who gets his butt kicked. He gets his butt kicked a lot. And he should be grappling with, should I take the flag serum or shouldn't I? And there should be an example of someone taking the flag serum and being a monster and horrific, and him having to make the decision, do I become something that scares me to save the people I love, or do I stay true to who I am and fail? Because realistically, a human cannot compete with superheroes. I think that was the story. They had something in there. Bucky touched on it a little bit. It was obvious he could have gotten his butt kicked right at the beginning by the really big dude. That was interesting. But then they threw in like 6 different storylines. But what the hell's with the giant head in the middle of the Indian Ocean? And who decided Japan is the villain? That's like
Disney saying, can't have China, because then they would cost themselves a bunch of box office.
Right. It's like China's our second biggest box office. Well, what about India? It's the Indian Ocean. Well India's our third biggest box office.
It's like how they totally neutered Ruth's character, because Ruth in the comics is Saber, who's supposed to be like the Captain Israel equivalent to like the Red Guardian and Captain America, and she's a mutant in the comics, and they just part her down like, oh,
do you mean the 85-pound that they cast?
Wow!
What?
Wow!
I'm like,
yes, she was a little short stature for the role, I thought, but
whose niece is whose? I shouldn't be saying that. That is really disrespectful.
Okay, so you're not taking her out for coffee anytime soon, is what you're saying. Got it.
I'm just
does anyone have a picture of the hero she's supposed to be?
Sabra? Or Sabra, sorry.
Talked about that, and we had like a picture of like she had a Happy Meal toy, I think.
I mean, if you base her off of the comic book appearance, maybe Gal Gadot would have been more appropriate. Of course, unless they didn't want to be too on nose and casting an Israeli as an Israeli character. But
they're not spending that much money. But like, also like, another thing that I liked about the movie is that, it doesn't live up to the legacy, but I like the random toy box feel. I actually like that the heroes and villains are cobbled together and mismatched. The fun I'm still getting from it is like, comic book or you don't have all the toys, you don't have everything, but you do have Red Hulk, and down to the bottom of the toy chest. Oh man,
Yeah.
the leader, thinker guy. He
You
could
know
be my
what?
main
That kind of
like,
makes me think. I think Keith and you and I were watching a video about cousin games on
yes.
Instagram. It's just like games that are sort of like not mainstream. They're sort of weird. You haven't really heard of them, but when you go over to your cousin's house, you make do. These are like cousin heroes.
Yes.
Like they're almost
It
there.
is
You can
cousin.
have fun
It
with
is
them
the
if you
cousin
have to.
tier.
Yeah,
Which,
and
yeah.
I think that kind of goes into something I was thinking is that like when Bucky showed up, like it was a big deal. And like I like Bucky, I do, but and when he showed up, I realized, oh, this is the big cameo, and that's it. That's what we're getting. And
It
then I
definitely
started
felt
thinking,
like he
oh,
was there because it needs to be there.
What's that?
It felt like he was there because he needs to be there. Like you got to have him in there. And then
they had a whole TV thing.
And then every time we did a podcast, and one of the guests we had on, he is a body double, and God, he's ruined movies for me forever. Because now I can look and tell like they're on the same set together. It's in a lot of MCU movies where there's an uncomfortable cobble feel where you're shoving things together and like it's not. You can feel that like, oh man, we need to have Bucky here. So like we'll schedule him like this week, and then just kind of like put them together. And
5 writers, 3 creatives built this story. Yeah, your cousin's game is spot on.
It started off with 3, but then they had to do the rewrites after the writers and actors strike threw everything for a spin. And Thunderbolts was supposed to come out before this movie. You guys know that, right?
Oh, was it?
I didn't know that. I didn't.
So like Bucky's not interrupting his Congress run.
I was gonna say, like, does it explain why he's going for politics now? Maybe
I'm imagining Thunderbolts would have explained that, but this is similar to like what the pivot that Marvel had to do with Spider-Man: No Way Home and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because originally those two are supposed to be swapped around too.
Oh,
yeah, because how stupid Doctor Strange was in No Way Home was supposed to be explained by Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but they reversed the release order because of the pandemic and all the rewrites and all that crap. So the same situation hit the Thunderbolts and Brave New World, is where they had to do the old switcheroo and rearrange a bunch of the plot lines, including Bucky.
What a mess.
Yeah. And 2 female superhero characters that didn't make it to the final cut.
I think they're too obsessed with their own stuff. They're focused on the MCU instead of telling a good story. It's Absolutely. Like, it's important to us. Oh, we have to work in the Eternals, and we have to work in all these other movies.
I don't think like the Eternals edition was a bad thing. Maybe it worked for me, I think.
They need to stop. Like, focus on your character and the protagonist, antagonist, and tell a good story. Like,
that's all you need.
People are losing investment in Marvel because they're not focused on developing the characters. There's no one to invest in.
I think they've leaned far too close to the IP and way too far away from the genre. Like was mentioned before, and I'd like to point out that if the guy I used to buy comic books from in the 90s is watching this, I was right back then where I said, I think the MCU has the potential to be bigger than Star Wars. And he was like, oh, okay, Keith, that's enough from you. Like, you don't need to keep talking. I was like,
get out of here.
No, because I'm like, people like drown me out when I say no, because like the thing that MCU had, the Marvel had is like, I was like, it has every genre already in it. Like you got spies, you got space opera, you got terrorism, you got armies and whatnot. And when you do those movies, you'll succeed. And I was saying like the problem with DC is that when you do a Superman movie, you're doing a Superman movie. When you do a Batman movie, you're doing a Batman movie. When you're doing those, you're not doing like a heist movie, which is what people are trying to see, and like they feel less embarrassed about. Like, because the reason why Captain America was so fracking great was that it was basically spy thriller with like awesome costumes, and it wasn't Captain America. They weren't pushing to, just so you know, this is Captain America the movie. They did a legit like could fit in the genre of any spy movie.
Well, remember, Captain America has had 3 different genres within its 3 movies. The first one was kind of like a World War II Indiana Jones serial. The second one was a spy thriller. And then the third one was like kind of like a little bit of spy thriller, but also mini Avengers movie.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
And then like here, yeah, we are like, I was watching for it, and this is why I've been watching so many Mission Impossible movies, because I want to get more of a feel of like, what do you need to do to succeed at that genre? And I felt they were going for it in here. They did try pretty hard to make a spy thriller. It's just that like, yeah, like when they're selling the movie, they're not selling a great spy thriller, which, you know, it's not great. It's not a great spy thriller. There's not that to sell. They're selling Captain America, but he's black now, and you're like, don't do that, please. Like, do a cool character who is black and a great story. And they're like, no. This is out front, and they're not trying hard enough to give the substance that makes a character cool.
Yeah, agreed.
And Indiana Jones turns red.
And that was fun. Listen, I did enjoy that. Honestly, I wish we had more Red Hulk. But there was one character that I really enjoyed in this, and I would have liked to have seen more of, and that was Isaiah Bradley. And then they locked him up for the entire movie. This is like no, this, I almost felt like it was like, no. This guy's too interesting. We're gonna lock that away. You got to focus on Sam.
Supposedly he was gonna have a suit in the original draft, and he was gonna like fight alongside Captain America. But I guess in the reshoots that got taken away, and maybe that's why he was sidelined.
Yeah, maybe they decided to be distracting or something, but I feel like it felt a little wasted. I'd like to see more of him in the future. That would be great. And listen, not to take us off track, but I did want to swing back on something I was going to say a while ago about characters with wings and like how much, Keith, you dislike them. Well, I think the characters with wings exist so they can have their wings ripped off.
Yeah.
It's like Chekhov's ripped off wings. Like they just need to have
it's the Icarus effect. Yes.
Yep. We were just waiting for that countdown.
Although I do have to ask, I don't know why it took this movie for me to finally question it, despite how long the Sam Wilson's Falcon's been in the movies for this long. How does he control those wings? I mean, does it jacked into his nervous system like Doc Ock's tentacles were, or does he have like remote control or what's the word I'm looking for? Does he have remote controls in his gloves to help control the movements of it? So he's guiding the wings using his arms. I tried watching the movie. Like, okay, is he moving? The wings moving with his arms? Like, no, the wings are not moving with his arms. How does he control his damn wings?
I
don't get it.
The same way that Iron Man's suit knows that he wants it to form into the cone that shoots the beam and not a sledgehammer. Like like the people keep on saying that Sam Wilson doesn't have superpowers, but he's got Iron Man suit.
He's got Jarvis. And so they've established, through trial and error, how his suit works. And he uses Jarvis.
And they don't show it all for...
Right. Part of the problem with this movie is like they just made him Captain America. They didn't show how, after Steve Rogers gave him the shield, we didn't get to go on the journey with him to becoming Captain America.
Tell me you didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier without telling me you didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Right. So I did watch it, and I do like it, but that's one of the fundamental flaws that Disney is destroying all their properties with, is they are assuming that everyone is a fan. I'm not a fan. Like, I'll watch it because I'm interested and I like that kind of stuff. But when I go from the end of Endgame to Sam, you can do this, I want to see the movie where Sam decides he can do this and step into being Captain America. And I was cheated of that. I got a cool TV show that was interesting.
Yep.
And then it had poor writing issues. And then I got a movie that just assumes that I'm going to accept whatever they tell me. And basically, no, I'm not giving you any more of my money.
But he had that moment in episode 5 of the show. Come on.
We never got a moment of him understanding his gear. Because like, like where like, his superpower is that I think it should have been further acknowledged that he has his own Iron Man suit that is also a fighter jet. And
sorry to interject, but
Yeah.
I think that's also kind of like one of the kind of issues with his version of Captain America is that, like, sure, he earned the shield through the strength of his character and Steve Rogers giving him that, but like, what does make him different than Iron Man? The only different, he basically has a super tech suit. The only thing is he didn't build it. He was, kind of given to it as like a gift from Wakanda. So I guess it kind of makes his powers feel not quite as earned, and it doesn't feel like it gives him like, okay, so as Steven was saying, he's a human can't fight a Hulk. So what's he gonna do that's like clever and smart that like shows his character that he's like scrappy and from his military background, but instead he's just kind of like using stuff that was like, using his cousin's play set.
And plus that Sam got that suit as a gift, as a favor for Bucky from the Wakandans. Now that it's all destroyed by Ross, does he have that on warranty? Does he just get another one? Does he get that replaced under warranty? I'm wondering.
Couldn't we see the mission where he was in Wakanda helping them out, and that's why they gave him the wings?
What I wanted is a progression of like his talent that goes into using that equipment.
Yes.
So like where it would have been really great if like we'd had like maybe an opening sequence flashback of what a badass motherfucking jet fighter pilot he was, and like seeing him like look at the instruments and like the talent that he has of barrel rolling and flying faster than an Iron Man can. And then using that love of fighter jets that he gets his new Wakandan suit, he's like, oh wow, so this is, and he gets to see that, and then it plays into like his love of his jet and his equipment, and then you can like start to like think of it how like Iron Man loves to forge his stuff, and his love goes into what kind of warrior he is, versus what we just got, which is like, now you are Captain America. All right, that's not like, oh, guys, like, please work. Try to make him cool. Just
right?
It did feel a little awkward when everybody was calling him Cap right away at the beginning of the movie. I'm like, oh, we're already at Cap phase already, huh? Okay.
Yep.
Maybe somebody being like Falcon, oops, I mean Cap or something like that. That might have been nice.
Right.
But just something, see a tiny bit of transition, but also kind of like going to, I think something we've all kind of been getting at here is that I would have liked to have seen, where does he excel? Right. So what's the point of the wings versus an Iron Man suit? Is he faster? Is he more maneuverable? Like what's the deal? Or is he just have like, basically a cheap reproduction of an Iron Man suit? Like to me, it just comes off as very unsatisfying that this is like, okay, well then just give him the whole suit. Just give him the suit. We're
I was
wasting our time.
thinking, you got to add, I was saying exactly that. You got to add like, so what's special about his weapon? Like what makes it different?
Exactly.
And I was thinking like like they could have definitely like in my fighter pilot narrative lean into that. It's way faster but not as durable, and play with that action and just give a shit about equipment.
Yep. The vibranium effect that they had on the wings when that first happened, like near the beginning of the movie, I thought there was like something wrong with it. Like the way that it vibrated looked really off. To me, I felt like it looked kind of cheap. And then throughout the movie, I realized, oh no, that's on purpose. That's how they wanted it to look.
Yeah, that was the energy absorption technology that Shuri introduced to the Black Panther suit in the first Black Panther movie. So I thought that was kind of a neat touch that they added to the wings.
It was cool. I like that they did that, but the way they did the effect, the way that it vibrated, looked like it was skipping frames, and it got on my nerves.
They're only so many CGI sweatshops they can keep working to death to get this done, man. Come on.
Yeah.
So
another thing I want to touch on was like a way of understanding the problems we're running into with this movie comes from like I like talking about my play patterns as a kid, and that like helped me explain some friends like why new Star Trek sucks. You just don't call something. It matters what it's called, so you know what game you're playing. And then like what we were playing as kids, like the play pattern that like we always end up going back to, even though I try to press against it, is the start of the story, where we show up on the stage of like the adventure, and then we have to find the universe and introduce the bad guys, get our equipment, build up to the climax, and then we duke it out to the end. And it's amazing. And then I was like, all right, cool. let's keep this and then go on to another adventure. And like, even my friends would get upset because they're like, it's over now. And like, this is what's happening here. Like, there's a novelty of Captain America when it first showed up. Like, you didn't see any kind of Captain America / Indiana Jones superhero thing like this before. That novelty, you're showing for the first time. You're getting used to everything. You're building up. You got the novelty again in the next one because like we'd never seen a spy thriller like that before. Then also the third one, we'd never seen a crossover like that before. And now we're all into the adventure. And like, I guess they should have done some, like, I think like how we're discussing right here. Please start the adventure for Sam so that we can get to know him, age, his equipment, and build him up. But instead, we're doing the play pattern that I was trying to do as a kid. Like, no, we're still here. Let's just keep going. And people aren't having fun with just keep going. They're like, it's not as good as the last one. I've seen this before. And yeah, that is a problem like a lot of the MCUs we're running into where we're already here.
Yep.
It's not
the villain is an incel that daddy keeps locked in the basement because he's abusing him or needs medication from 18 years ago. Let's pull something out of that toy box from 18 years ago. A good chunk of our audience wasn't even born.
Oh, you're right. Okay, as a business decision, no. But like, as like to me as a toy box fan, like, I like it. Also, really quickly, given the actors that you have available, can afford the pieces available on the board of the MCU, what else are you gonna do?
Did you stay for the stinger?
Yes.
The others. Okay. Beware the others. Who,
right.
Samuel? The others. Okay.
Bad stuff will happen.
Things! Beware the things!
Well, can I also say, Keith, was your like fantasy play pattern like, Captain America fight against 60-year-old Giancarlo Esposito? Oh, that poor man, that poor man who was just like such a fantastic actor, but he's only good if you like give him a character who's like written well and kind of genuinely threatening. Like I laughed so hard when he's like, I'm about to confirm the body, and he just walks in and goes after Anthony Mackie.
Okay, two sides of that. Two sides of that. I think Giancarlo Esposito did a great job. Like I am fully on board with like he's pretty old and looking tired, but he didn't look tired. Like, I'm sorry, like the character he did portray looked like he has killed 100 guys. He's going to kill 100 guys more. And he did come across proper to me. But the problem that I'm running into is that it is kind of a little bit of a racial thing. It is that it's uncomfortable for Hollywood to have certain handsome black men defeat a white man. It has been like this for about a decade lately. So, do you guys hear about the actors that got cut out of the movie?
No,
a wrestler.
It's actually been like this since Hollywood's inception.
I've been seeing things get better, and then like the last 10 years, it just like, but like, okay, so yeah, they cut out this like professional wrestler and some other guy. And I think like in the story, yeah, you would have had to have Sam Wilson go head to head with this person and mop the floor with them. I'm positive. They all of a sudden they just cut him out and let's put this black dude in here instead for him to kick the shit out of. Oof. And it's just more comfortable for the audience.
Didn't they also have him beat up like the white heavy? I know he wasn't like a famous name, but
exactly.
Wasn't that an example? Or you just don't think like he could beat up?
I think you said it. Like, he wasn't a famous face. Like he was like it was almost kind of a nobody. But he did look formidable, and then like you can kind of get away with saying like, see, like we don't care who he beats up. But like, yeah, you cut out all these like I think like there's like bigger stars that had bigger presence. And then change it to old black man so that, it's just easier on the palate for some audiences is what I saw and is the pattern that I see a lot.
Well, like, they needed somebody with the known gravitas because apparently there was a bunch of Serpent Society characters that they cut out for this. And Seth Rollins was the pro wrestler they were going to have in there originally. But it's not like Giancarlo Esposito is really hard up for work because he had 7 credits to his name last year, and he's already got 4 or 5 coming out this year, including Brave New World. So it's not like the guy's hard up for work.
I don't think he's hard up, but he would definitely take the paycheck and like the exposure. And like also he's royalty lately in Hollywood. So
Well, yeah, it seems like he's in a head-to-head competition with Pedro Pascal for the most roles that can get crammed into a single year lately. It's just nuts.
But that's why I think he got inserted, because like he is royalty. Everybody knows his name, and like if you have to have some like a main bad guy for Sam Wilson to beat down, that makes all the audience comfortable.
You calling Gus Fring, man?
Yep, and in the movie, I'm sorry, he did a great job. Like what I saw, like he came across as like a legitimate threat to me.
Really? Like
Yes.
I don't know. At this
His
point,
acting did it for me.
You can act all you want. At this point, it's like, pointing a gun at someone in Marvel's like, it's like One Piece when someone points a pistol or a bazooka. It's just not threatening.
And plus, the whole big exposition scene you had with Sam after he was in custody, and like, oh god, this is just an expedition dump. Why did you hire Giancarlo just to be a expositioner?
Because
it's a waste.
Exposition, you're gonna use the best, I guess. Or the best.
And then he has that whole mustache twirling, and I will escape from the prison. Like, yeah, come on, give me a break. I'm convinced that deep down, Giancarlo is just hamming it up for the sake of hamming it up and seeing how far he can push it. It's like, you guys hired me. You threw a crap ton of money at me at the last minute. I'm going to ham the crap out of this. I'm going to have fun.
Hell yeah.
If I was him, that's the way I'd be approaching it. It's like, you guys are trying to make a spy thriller? Yeah.
You know what? I think on this one, I probably fall a little closer to what, to Keith's opinion, for a nice change of pace. But, speaking of just like the performances in general and the vibe of the movie, is that normally in an MCU movie, like there are moments that are funny, right? Where we have moments of levity. And I think those are all really important. And in general, Sam and Anthony Mackie for that matter, very charming, very funny, but it felt like Sam was trying very hard to be serious the entire time. Like they were kind of like pushing this really serious vibe and over serious. And I personally don't think that works. I think you kind of need the moments of levity. And this didn't, I think I laughed maybe once.
I think in the Captain America line of movies, we don't have that.
Is that right? Just Captain America in general, you think?
The Captain America line of movies have been serious. They seem to be the least likely to get goofy jokey like MCU does, like Guardians of the Galaxy does it well.
Also not going to have a musical number like the Marvels? Come on, man.
I didn't even know the Marvels had a musical number, but now that you mention it, that would have been nice.
They're the least quippy. Like there are jokes, because I'm trying to remember. In the first one, there was that fondue joke where like Steve Rogers didn't know what fondue was, and he was
right, yeah.
But you're generally right though. They're the less. And there was like jokes about like Scarlett Johansson like constantly flirting with Steve Rogers due to his like the ambiguity of his sexual experience. So she would always kind of like make him flustered. It's like showing off her skin. So there were light touches of humor, but there weren't like it wasn't like the Whedon-esque quipping.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I did appreciate the minimal quipping. I mean, it's not like they're pushing as hard as most of the Phase 4 and Phase 5 movies have been trying to push the humor, like the average Ant-Man movie, for example.
Well, I wonder if actually that's a great point, because I was wondering if maybe that was because they were swinging back too hard in the other way. Because the Ant-Man movie, they tried really hard, like, oh my God, that MODOK. And just nightmare inducing. And then also the latest Thor movie, which was heavily criticized for trying to be too funny.
Yeah, how you could waste Christian Bale is going to always be a crime forever and ever.
Astounding.
Taika Waititi, he's so funny. Such a funny guy.
Everybody admit it. Everybody.
Yeah, sure. That was funny. Yeah, drunken karaoke on a Viking longship. Yeah. Awesome.
All right, do we start wrapping this up and do some final thoughts, or is there any like big points that we should touch on before we wrap up?
Well, I think we kind of covered it, but I guess like here's an interesting question for all of you. Marvel's in a really precarious spot. It was like the king of the universe. Now it seems to be like, is this a step in course correction? Or is this just kind of like another fumble until we see them, pull the brake for emergency Robert Downey Jr. hatch before, like,
they already yanked that handle, dude. They already yanked that handle. No, I mean, because I was thinking about that, because I mean, the Iger effect that forced them to pause for the last 12 months, it's kind of reestablished some of that mystery that they had going into Infinity War and Endgame, because you weren't quite you knew that Thanos was coming in those two movies, but you didn't quite know the stakes. So that when Infinity War ended the way it did, and you're like, there was that surprise factor. It wowed you. I mean, the biggest problem from Phase 4 and Phase 5 so far is it's just been a bunch of treading water, and you're like, I'm not sure if I want a surprise or anything to be interested in, because everything we've seen so far is just benign. And to be honest, Brave New World is just more treading water. It's not, but we all know that it's just building towards the next two Avengers movies. Those are going to be the make or break moment for the future of the MCU past this, because they brought back the Russo brothers because they've been tanking outside of the MCU. They brought back Robert Downey because for some reason they thought that was a good idea to bring him back as Doom, even though it is in the comics. I found that out.
Is in the same saga, or has he
there was an alternate Earth where Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom were rivals, and Victor Von Doom took over Tony Stark's body and became Doctor Doom as Tony Stark's body, and this whole, usual comic book shenanigans. But anyway, so this doesn't really reestablish anything. It doesn't set a new bar, doesn't set any new floor either, but it's just more treading water. That's all this movie is, and Thunderbolts is going to be the same way, if we're being honest. What really is going to start giving an inkling of whether or not the MCU is still going to be viable past 2026 is going to be the Fantastic Four movie and then the two Avengers movies. Agreed. So if they don't reset their foothold with those three movies, they're done. And honestly, who would have thought that this franchise would have reached almost 40 frickin' movies and still be going since 2008, for crying out loud?
Impressive. It is. MJ, you nailed it. That's it. They're treading water. They're not even doing that very well.
Yep.
Final thoughts. I love the actors. Film's a mess. I will never see it again. It's pointless. You know what I would like to see is how Sam Wilson becomes Captain America. That would be a cool movie. I'm all on board for that one.
Yep.
You had a 6-episode movie, man. Come on. They already did it.
I do have a question for the comic book fans. Like, where does the Red Hulks come from? Because as soon as I saw the ads, I'm like, that's kind of the, dollar store Hulk from China. They don't want to make green Hulks, so they make a Red Hulk.
Oh, Hulk on Temu? Yeah.
What's the history behind Red Hulk?
I don't know.
I'm not an expert, but I think he does have a little bit of a history where it was
that's when you start getting into Gray Hulk and all. It's kind of like the Green Lanterns and all the different colored rings. They're the different colored Hulks for different shades of hulkiness, and there's a whole mythology behind it that probably take a whole other podcast to get into. But
I heard Hulk fans say that this is when the comic book fell. Hulk fans say that's when the comic book fell off, when the Red Hulk showed up, and it stopped being about what they loved about the Hulk.
At least they didn't drag in Amadeus Cho too. I mean, if we're just gonna go all hulking out here, let's drag in Cho too.
He was another popular.
All right, go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I have this thesis that I think the blip was one of the worst things to do in the MCU from a creative standpoint. On one hand, I love it that they had the balls to kill off half the cast, and there was nothing bolder I've seen from a studio.
I think they do it.
To have Black Panther be in there, be celebrated as this huge cultural touchstone, and then just watch him shred to ash. I'd love the balls of that. But the big mistake was having it be a 5-year time jump. It should have just been 6 months and then they came back, versus 5 years of the heroes sitting around and moping, because now you kind of have this universe that feels completely disconnected from ours. So it's difficult to like make a story with political allegory when like the world is so fundamentally different. Where like half the people came back, and then they it kind of forced the it was basically the equivalent of like taking the cosmic element of the MCU and then just forcing it on the street level stuff, on the comedy stuff, and every other genre has to acknowledge it in some way. So now you have a universe where you've got the giant eternal statue, which does nothing except for providing adamantium.
And I think it provides kind of an element of fantastical to the MCU universe.
Does it? Like they've done nothing with it. It's just a prop. It's a prop that nobody uses. It's like a play set. It's a Mighty Max play set that nobody wants
Eternals
to play.
Is not the Eternals. Leave them alone.
I was concerned we weren't going to get a Mighty Max.
Plant some trees on it.
Can't plant trees on adamantium, guys.
Well, like if it like if they used it as like an excuse that like the whatchamacallit, the energy of the Celestials radiating, and that's how we get mutants, and then the mutants go to Eternals Island to form the X-Men Academy.
Even though technically it's an archipelago, not an island. So just to be,
I was going to say the same thing. That was really embarrassing of you, Isaac, to not think between the two. I didn't want.
What are they gonna name the islands in the archipelago? Like Noggin Island, Lefty Island, Righty Island, Shoulder Island. I mean, the thing that bugged me about that is a few things about that island, the archipelago. One, how does the emergence of that thing alter the global environment? Because it punched up through a major tectonic plate in the Indian Ocean. Did it affect the other tectonic plates around the Pacific Ocean? Did it affect the Ring of Fire? Is it affecting
the answer is, please give me your lunch money, MJ. Just
think about this. And the massive torso is rising from 2.5 miles underneath the Indian Ocean. So it's blocking all the ocean currents going through the Indian Ocean. That's affecting the climate's been affected by the currents going through the area. So it's affecting all the monsoons and the hurricanes in the Pacific area.
You
can't tell me that a massive 10-mile tall statue just poked out of the earth and isn't affecting anything else. But
I'm so sorry that the Eternals introduced the element of mysticism and magic to the MCU, and we should have gone in that direction to have some fun with mystic, ancient horrors and demons. And the Eternals gets a bad rap, and I don't think it's up.
Hey! Doctor Strange already did the magic. He was here first.
Get it on lock. Listen, MJ. Whenever I start to feel frustrated about the environmental effects of the giant island thing, I just say to myself, "That was part of the Eternals, and I don't care." And just really quick, my final thoughts on the movie. Forgive me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that the bumper was kind of referencing the multiverse, right? Because what do you say? There are others or something like that. And so the Brain Man said that. What's that?
Yeah, he's referencing the Kangs. Oh, wait, we can't talk about them now.
No, I think you can again. But Matt, keep going.
But he said that, and I'm like, yeah, dude, we know. Like, this is the bumper about like this very dramatic statement about something that we already know about, and that's supposed to get us excited for what's coming up next. And I felt like that kind of encapsulated the entire movie. It was just like, yeah, we know. Like, we've basically seen this before. Yeah, it was fun, but like, what did this introduce? What exactly about this was brave or new?
Treading water. That's what it was.
Treading water, and the water has a big old statue and it doesn't do anything.
Place setting. It's I think maybe we're in the place setting era of the MCU, because this is like the kind of stuff that people get mad about in like
5
and this is an excuse, but like
5
TV shows,
years of table setting.
You're putting the pieces in place for the big movie that everybody is like.
All right, I got to rant a little bit, Keith, because nothing has been set, nothing has been developed, nothing has been like the other ones were play setting. They play set in ways that made sense. That like, oh, here's Loki, he's going to be the villain. Oh, here's Thanos, here's introduced in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Here's all the cosmic elements. There is no play setting. It has just been spiraled hireling ever again and again with, oh, here's Icarus. Oh, here's a Hercules. Oh, here's the Black Knight who might tie into Blade. It is just this never-ending
God,
series.
I really wish they'd stop with that.
There's just this never-ending series of things that never pay off. And the Rousseau brothers, God bless them. How do you tie that into the Doctor Doom? How does any of this make sense? There is no place setting. There is no thing that has been set up. It was all destroyed when they kicked out the Kang, and nobody was really even excited about Kang.
Sorry, it's not done well. But it's place setting. It is like you can't not say that that you have the adamantium giant. It's there. I'm sorry, that is place setting. Like saying that, like, yeah, now we have to wait for the giant. There is.
Okay, Keith. When the Avengers Doomsday comes out, I'm going to make you a bingo card for all the story threads that have been introduced for the past, 5-6 years, and then you can fill out that bingo card, and you tell me how close you are in terms of like how many of those plot elements. I can't wait to see the Young Avengers.
Make it a drinking game and automatically improve
I
quality
can't tell.
of all the
Am I
movies
winning or losing if I get more of the marks?
You win if you get a bingo. How many bingos do you get?
So the more I get, the better. Okay, yeah.
I don't think you're gonna get.
I'm just saying, like, it's really done. But I'm just saying the pieces are being placed.
Indeed. And I guess my final thoughts again is just, it was fine. It was a movie. It was an MCU movie. It did things. It was a way to spend 2 hours. La-di-da.
Yep.
I want my money back.
Oh yeah, I just find it fascinating how further along, how much homework is involved. Because like, how many people were lost going to this if they hadn't seen the Incredible Hulk from 16 years ago, or if you hadn't seen Eternals, like most of us in this group apparently want to forget. But because I'm a statistics nerd, I updated all the totals for how many hours of content you have to watch if you're going to call yourself an MCU file. 154 hours of content total.
Oh, no.
Damn.
From Iron Man till Captain America: Brave New World.
Does that include the TV series?
Oh, well, see, this is a fun thing. And phase 1 was 12 hours. Phase 2, 12 hours. Phase 3, 24 hours. Phase 4, which was 7 movies and 8 TV series, 58 hours.
Jesus.
Phase 5 thus far, including Daredevil Born Again, which just started this past week, which is 5 movies, 7 series, 46 hours.
Oh my goodness.
So that's a lot of ass time. Just to have a lot of ass time. Yeah, just to have a clue what the hell you're doing or what you're watching. So, And one final note for because Steven did make a reference to how many people were involved in writing this. The 2 main writers for the show were the 2 writers behind Falcon and Winter Soldier, which we all knew was that. The other writer they brought in, Rob Edwards, co-wrote one of Keith's favorite movies. Rob Edwards wrote The Princess and the Frog and Treasure Planet.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And one of the guys behind this movie and Falcon and Winter Soldier had a rather auspicious credit to his name. He co-wrote the Iron Skies sequel, The Coming Race. If you guys, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Iron Sky.
Yeah, I know one of them sucked really bad and was really fucking terrible.
Oh, it is really bloody bad. It's about Nazis hiding on the moon after World War II to come back and take over the Earth.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I'll sign up for that. And
they made a sequel to it, and somebody actually put it on their IMDb that they co-wrote it. So more power to them.
As bad or worse than the first.
It's got lizard people and Steve Jobs cult. Actually,
you're trying to sell it to me.
Oh wow!
Yeah, my files should do an episode about it.
It sounds awesome. But yeah.
So anyway, that's all I got. Who haven't we gone through here yet? Isaac, you had your final thoughts? Or
I think I've kind of interjected. My apologies, but I'll try and keep this short and sweet. I think it was, at its best, a duct tape movie with all the fat pulled behind, stitched together to make a B- viewing experience if you don't think about it too much. So congrats on that. As a larger piece of the MCU, It was kind of like just another nothing burger that seemed to be building on nothing, going nowhere, and kind of going nowhere. Um, just like inconsequential piece of genre entertainment that just at the very least gave us some more Hulk action. But I think it was kind of disappointing and not quite 100% the course correction that we've been looking to see. And it seems like now that course correction, all that is falling on Pedro Pascal's shoulders, given the fact that like maybe that's what they should have used the multiverse as a way to like, how do we set up new things that aren't bound by the rules of the MCU that can be in their own separate universes, and then we can use the multiverse as an excuse to jam them all together when we want for an Avengers movie.
I must say though, I am looking forward to that Fantastic Four movie. I mean, they have yet to make a good one, so they have history working against them. But I love the cast.
To make a good Fantastic Four.
This is attempt 5.
Indeed. So,
I've never seen Fantastic Four ever be good ever in anything so far.
I love the cast. I thought that was well cast. I thought Pedro Pascal was an interesting choice for Reed Richards. I'll be interested to see what kind of Reed Richards they go with. But I'm looking forward to it because, I mean, July is going to be Fantastic Four. It's going to be James Gunn's Superman. It's going to be great. So,
hope so.
Even if the movies suck, I'm still going to be excited. I don't care. So,
all right. I think I'm last then. Anybody else?
Really, and Keith, I apologize if you were about to mention him, but I want to just say that we've been talking about this for over an hour now, and nobody has mentioned Joaquin Torres once. I don't think
sidekick,
which to me is very appropriate. Honestly, I forgot he was the character.
The sidekick.
Yeah, he was the fun little sidekick. Yeah, he interjected his little quips and wore a lot of Miami stuff throughout the entire movie. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It's like, why are you pushing Miami so hard, dude? Okay. Must be something of the actor. He must have graduated from the University of Miami and is native to Miami. So hey, represent.
One last thing before I give up the last thing. I think it's the most telling thing is that like I'm seeing more culture for the the alternate versions of Mark from Invincible in the most recent episode than I have for Joaquin Torres or any of the other characters or Ruth Sabra or most of the other people from Brave New World.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My final words on Brave New World is that, like I said, I liked it a lot. I take off the table the budget, what it needs to live up to, what needs the best, and yeah, just taking it on its own. Like I was saying, like how I'm okay with not having the best sometimes. Like, it's even fun for me to see something that sucks so that it can contrast against the great. This for me didn't suck. It was just good. And it seems like the MCU is kind of like going into like this defensive posture of like trying to get things be safer and more contained. They're not trying to go too far with this one because they're trying to keep the threads tamed so they can focus on like I think the next Avengers movie they feel they will really reboot them. I think all the creation of Sam Wilson's Captain America comes from, unfortunately, the wrong complete place from the start. I really, once again, like I said, I wish this was done in a competitive way that where some artist was just like, this has to happen. I know how to draw wings to make them look good. So everybody trust me. This is going to be freaking awesome. And then from there, people are just like, yeah, I love it. They're already wearing the t-shirts. And then we get to see him fight his arch enemy, the Red Hulk, and it's been fun. But that's not what happened. Instead, we got people demanding that this be. Demand this be. And if you don't like it, you're in trouble. But the people involved in the movie, I saw them lean hard against trying to guilt people into liking this or using any kind of like racial metaphor to strong arm you into thinking that your heart has to like this. I did enjoy that Sam Wilson, although they didn't flesh out and build up his character at like the hero he needs to be, he was just a character on screen. And we got to go through an adventure, a little bit of mystery, duke it out with the Red Hulk, and I had a good time. And then we got to see the timer go off and his wing ripped off. So, Yeah. I had a good time.
It was a non-canon miniseries, one shot. Yeah,
right. I had a great time, but if you want to stand back and look at the big picture, that they spend maybe $300 million all for a drop of blood.
Well, see, that's the funny thing. This didn't cost $300 million. It only cost $180. It's the cheapest MCU movie since Spider-Man: Far From Home.
I'm gonna say they said that.
That's they want you.
Yeah.
Okay, official reported budget. Okay, that's the
Yeah.
official reported budget.
180 million plus the reshoots plus marketing kicks it up to like 250, I think, at the very least. And
350.
like if you're like using all the money in the world, like I've said since the beginning of the podcast, how are you not making the greatest art I've ever seen in my entire life? You have infinite resources. Please, like
it still needs to make
drowning in greatness.
It still needs to make another $100 million at the worldwide box office to break even. So hey, it has the finish line in sight. Hey,
we'll see.
Next time,
Steven,
next time it's you, make it cool.
I'm just curious, since you're the biggest professional amongst us here, what would you guess is the budget, considering that it seems like there's been like a lot of narrative correction, but by the same token, we got those McDonald's toys for the cut characters that appeared in 2024. So don't you tell me that there isn't like another cut of the film that cost an additional 50 million or 80 million on that.
I suspect it's probably around 320. Maybe 350 at the most.
Really?
I was exaggerating a bit, but I do think it's about 320. And the break-even number is always double the budget. So they need to be over 650 million to break even. So I have no idea where the current box office is at worldwide. But that's
you are aware of the American or worldwide culture's desire for adventure. Which you say is...
Yeah, and they have a much lower bar than we have. So something that does maybe 100 million in sales in the US could do 200 million in China. And I say that as I grew up watching Ray Harryhausen movies, and China has some films, can't remember the name, but essentially they're Tomb Raiders. It's a group of Tomb Raiders. And these play like those old time Ray Harryhausen adventure movies. And I love them. So, yes, the rest of the world has, I don't want to say a lower bar, but they have different expectations. So I suspect that this movie will do better internationally than it will nationally.
Which is usually the case of pretty much any movie, but yeah.
All right. To close this up, I'd like to hear from each of you the latest big, important, cool geek thing that you're enjoying or would recommend. I'll go first. Last night I saw The Substance with Demi Moore, and I think it's
finally. Jeez, man, took you.
I wanted to watch it with a friend, and then I will say that the only spoiler I'm going to give you is to brace yourself. I was not properly prepared.
It took Cronenberg body horror and went, yeah, we could go further.
Oh my god! Like by the end of it, I was like in the corner, and like the movie just keeps punching me in the ribs, and like after like an hour, like I'm my ribs are all broken. Are you tired yet, movie? And like movies, I'm not tired yet, and it felt like the movie beat me until it got tired, and I had already passed out. And like by the time the final frame hits, the movie's just like, wow, I beat your ass.
It was the best Cronenberg movie I've seen since his 80s stuff. So
yeah, I did not know they were going to go that hard. I did not know they were.
We don't speak of Crash.
Did you? I guess no one here is a fan of like a Tokyo Gore Police.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's like
I've never heard those three words in combination. To continue,
I've seen it.
Thank you, a man of culture.
I don't know. Have you seen The Substance, and do they compare? God damn, man.
Whatchamacallit? I think The Substance did a great job of bringing Japanese guru horror to the masses.
Yes, they went the gore I saw in that movie. Like I thought I expected like a little bit, and not even a little bit. I thought that there's gonna be like maybe three or four big shots of like, oh no, I can't believe that happened. But it was just like no. you're in here. You're trapped in here with me, and this is happening. And I'm not letting you go until the final cut happens. And the final gasp was just like, and as they say, I'm not going to watch Brave New World again. The Substance was amazing. I'm never going to watch that movie ever again.
Should we review The Substance?
Nah.
I have ideas for movies, but we'll talk.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to probably pretty soon.
Good luck. Have fun.
Thanks. What's the movie where the people all like meld into each other? For like
Society?
Society. How much worse is it than Society?
I've
No
never
Society
heard of
for
that
me.
one.
Wow, I'm actually kind of surprised. All right,
But now
Keith,
I need to track it down.
But yeah, that was my recent geek thing that
sorry.
I will highly recommend it. But unlike me, you're prepared. Steven, what's been your thing?
Does Reacher count as geek?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Reacher's season 3 is knocking it out of the park so far.
Yes.
Whenever you have a film or television based on the book, it tends to do much better because you've got established storytelling protocols. And yeah, I love Reacher. I think Alan...
You didn't want to see Tom Cruise come back as Jack? Come on.
I actually thought he was great in that film. I wasn't familiar with the books, but I thought
Richardson
Tom Cruise's
is Reacher, though.
was good.
Richardson is born to play Reacher.
Yeah, I actually think he should be Conan. And a friend of mine wants to see him as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, there's a lot of people pushing for Richardson to play Batman in Gunn's DCEU.
Yeah.
If you like that actor, please watch Blue Mountain State.
That's coming back, though. That's coming back next year, man.
Oh, that's a football thing, right?
It is?
Yeah. They are reviving Blue Mountain State. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's
amazing.
Shit.
And they are bringing Richardson back. I'm assuming he's going to be a coach now, but can you imagine that jackass as a coach?
Steven, have you seen Blue Mountain State?
I have not.
Like I said, if you love that actor,
it was
you're going to have so much fun with him.
Yeah, it was
He's
Richardson's
amazing.
Big break.
Okay.
I became such a huge fan of that guy after like the fool he created in Blue Mountain State is amazing. But
Between
anyways,
that and
Reacher,
that and Smallville were his big breaks. So, but yeah, I agree. Reacher's the season 3 has been way better than season 2. Season 2 seemed to be a little too bogged down in itself, but season 3 has been hell yeah.
Give it a shot. MJ, what have you been dorking on lately?
Let's see. Outside of watching things I've been long overdue to watch, like the original Star Trek series and the James Bond movies and Community. I'm finally watching all those because I'm 45 years old and never watched all of them all the way through. I read Alejandro Jodorowsky and Mobius's The Incal, which was a graphic
highbrow.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty fucking awesome. It came to my awareness through the Jodorowsky's Dune documentary, and I found out that Jodorowsky had dumped most of his story ideas into the Incal, and he had brought Mobius on, and Mobius, the comic book artist, if you guys aren't familiar, is a French artist who worked with Jodorowsky on most of the storyboards, and then he was a big Marvel artist in the 80s.
Silver Surfer?
Yep. That's the joke from Crimson Tide.
Yep.
Which was written by Quentin Tarantino, by the way, funny enough. And yeah, the Incal is just great. I mean, I can see why it was a science fiction fantasy touchstone in the early 80s and why the publishers of it sued Luc Besson for copying a lot of the Fifth Element from it, because there's a strong Fifth Element vibe to it when you first start reading it. But yeah, it's got a lot of fun characters, a lot of pertinent social commentary even now, and a lot of the dialogue's kind of hokey. But you know, if you're familiar with Jodorowsky's work, like his surrealist movies from the 70s and his other work, you're kind of used to it. But yeah, if you've never read the Incal, I highly, highly recommend it. And now I'm done with the Incal, I'm going to start reading through the Meta Barons series, which was the spin-off of the Incal that he built off of that. So
are they spin-off? Same world? Universe?
Yep, Meta Barons are still in the same world. Apparently there are sequels to the Incal, which I'm kind of worried about reading, because even Jodorowsky said, yeah, that was kind of contractual. We didn't think it needed a sequel, but we shoved one out. It's like
Meta Barons is a
completely different story. So yeah. Don't worry about it. They're both fantastic.
Oh, you've read it too. Awesome. I'm desperately hoping Taika Waititi does not make the live action movie, because as we've all seen from his work the last 5 years, do just not touch it. I want to see a good anime adaptation of it, though. I think it lends itself greatly to made by Eastern creatives, not Western, because Western creatives have completely lost touch with anything that's good.
Yep.
Not to be doom and gloom, but anyway, yeah. Isaac, what you got?
All right, so I've got two things. One, I think you've experienced a little bit. I highly recommend this. It's an animated series called Common Side Effects, and it is absolutely it is so good. It is so brilliant. The basically, it's from the creative team who did Scavenger's Reign, with an executive producer credit from Greg Daniels and Mike Judge. It moonlights as a comedy, but I'd say it's more of like a straight laced, kind of conspiracy crime drama. It's an animated series, and basically the idea is that this kind of hippie-ish guy who's like really smart with mushrooms finds a super mushroom that can cure any disease. And it's basically like the government and the pharmaceutical industries are trying to suppress him, make sure the news about the mushroom does not get out, because it would ruin the entire world's economy to have something that gets rid of all diseases. So it's just a really smartly written, brilliantly directed series. I cannot recommend it highly enough. I think everyone should watch it. It's a ultimate cult thing. Common Side Effects. The only complaint I'd give is that I'm not the biggest fan of the art styles, where everyone's got these huge heads and tiny faces.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly.
But they pack so much into a 22-minute episode. It's been great.
How many episodes? I know you saw the first two.
I'm caught up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's 6 episodes into the 10 episode first season. If you guys are afraid of checking it out, it just started. So
yeah, we just I just watched the first episode a couple of days ago after your recommendation, Isaac, and yeah, really enjoyed it. Even my wife, after getting past the animation, enjoyed it as well. So
I'm sorry, and Marshall needs to wear a shirt that buttons up at some point. I'm getting tired of watching his belly hang out every episode, dude. Seriously.
So wait, this is not a comedy at all?
It has comedic elements to it, but by and large, it's just good, solid writing. It's interesting, and I am very interested to see what they do with the Kodama-esque characters in it too that keep popping up.
Yeah, because there are visions of when you take the drug, so it goes some a little bit more trippier animation sequence, but it's mostly a very grounded story that's not super fantastical, but it's just so well put together. Every single, so well directed. I cannot recommend it enough. And then my other more obscure thing is a manga series that not many people know about. But let me give you the premise. So the premise starts out is a bunch of magical heroes are fighting a desperate battle against the Demon King. And they unite together to send 46 heroes to defeat the 46 Demon King captains and free the world. But it is a losing battle. They are losing on every front. Sounds generic, but one of them has a plan. He's going to cast a spell that'll turn the tide of battle. And he does the spell, and there is a cloud of smoke, and from the cloud of smoke comes cyber troopers with laser guns. They kill all the demons around them, and they said, "Hey, I thought you're going to help us with the robots, right? Because we're fighting the robots." So the series is called Versus, and basically what happens is just about your favorite, all of your favorite sci-fi apocalypses have all been combined in one world. So it's about the human survivor. Yeah. So not only are there robots, there's a world with mega kaiju, there's a world with space aliens, there's a world with Mad Max survivors, there's a world with a curse, there's a world with a mad god, there's a world with neo-humans. So basically it is just a jam mash as the survivors of all these worlds try and pit their natural enemies against each other so they can somehow survive in this new chaotic environment where every single genre you can think of is clashing together. Sci-fi with fantasy, with whatchamacallit.
He says called Versus?
Yeah. It is
came out in 2022?
It started. It's from the writer of One Punch Man as well.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all you have to say.
So I thought you'd get a kick out of hearing that premise.
Hell yeah. All right, and then Doc Falconer, we've been geeking on.
Yeah, so I actually finished these. I kind of tore through them, but I found a series of books randomly called Tales from the Gas Station. It's by this guy named Jack Townsend, and it's about a guy who can't sleep. He literally never sleeps. He's physically incapable of it. Who works at a gas station in the middle of nowhere, and the gas station is absolutely beset by like bizarre supernatural occurrences, and he just sort of like falls into these like battles basically for like the fate of the entire world by the end of pretty much every book, and he seems to win by accident. And there's just something, they get a little confusing honestly, but they're super fun and it's a super easy read. And there's some characters in it that are really, really endearing. And like, it's really interesting the way he like these characters get introduced and you're like, oh, this is just kind of like a character who will show up occasionally. And next thing you know, it's like the main character's best friend and you barely even noticed it happening. So yeah, I recommend Tales from the Gas Station.
Cool. All right.
Sounds like a gas station next to a Hellmouth in Buffy or something.
That's almost exactly what it is.
Nice.
All right. Doc Falconer, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
Yeah. Let's see. You can always find me Instagram and Twitter at Doc Falconer. Also, keep your eyes out for a short film that I co-produced and acted in over the summer called Exhibition. Hopefully, that'll start hitting film festivals in like later this year.
On you, man. Congrats.
Thanks.
Lobster, we've been. Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at Lobster Magnet Reviews. Check out my channel. That's where most of my stuff is posted. It is on there.
MJ, where can we find you on the internet?
As soon as I rejoin the social media sphere, because I've been in the middle of a 4-month detox from the insanity that is that banality, you'll be able to find me again as MJ3342, which is EMJAY3342.
All right. Stephen Donnelly, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me on ArtStation under Caravaggio's Wolf. That's CARA.
I think we're trying like
GIOS WOLF.
MOUSE.
All right. You can find me on x.com /Keith Unlimited. I'm also on Instagram at Keith Justice. You can find this podcast and more on YouTube. Thank you for joining the Couch Command podcast. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day. Take it easy, guys.
Have a good night.
Take it easy.
Get out of here.
And recording now.